This month, September, I'm talking to folks who want to be supervisors. Now, this may be you, this may not be you. That's okay. If it's not you, don't worry. I'll hit a month where I hit an interest that you want to talk about. Make sure that you let me know, though. These are things that I hear through the grapevine and people want to know more about. So if there's really a topic that you want me to cover, or you want me to grab an expert so that we can all learn more about a particular skill, I've brought in great experts like Craig Alsop to talk to us about SEO, Nicolette Wax, who's the Instagram star with her vegan home cooked roots page. So I try to bring in experts who will help you get your business to where you want it to be. And if there's something that you need, you can always tag me in this group, or you can shoot an email to support@katewalkertraining.com. So today is all about how supervision can level up your practice. Now, I did a little preview of this in Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses because I like to do that, but also because I want to talk to perhaps grad students. Wait, hold up a second. Am I blurry? Or is that because I don't have glasses on? Okay, I think we're good. I want to talk to even the grad students or the LPC associates. I give this information sometimes, and then they'll come up and talk to me at a conference or in a classroom, and they'll say, oh, wow, my supervisor doesn't do this. Or, oh my gosh, it's so good to know that my supervisor does these things. And I want to plant a seed even as early as graduate school or being in your LPC associate phase. I want to plant a seed so that you always intend to become a supervisor, right? That's what I'm here for, to get you from graduate to supervisor and beyond. And step it up is a step up. It means you're getting serious about your practice. You want all the tools you can possibly get. And you've got me in these weekly coaching calls where you can ask questions live, almost in person. We got a camera between us, but you get the idea. You can always ask me questions, and I will do my very, very best to get those answered. So let me get my notes here. And if you're watching this on a replay, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here as well. How can supervision level up your practice? Well, the number one way that doesn't really work, but everybody thinks of it, and I'm not sure why, is income. Yes, supervision can bring in added income. But here's the big but, as I like to tell my kids. The big but is it's not a great way to bring in income, and here's why. And those of you who are watching this who are supervisors, you know this, right? Supervision increases your responsibility and your liability. And I hear people in my supervisor training when I give workshops say things like, well, I'm not really a detail person, or I'm not really a paperwork person. If you're a supervisor, you have to become one. You must be organized. You have to be able to keep everything ship-shape so that you're documenting every step of this supervisee's progress. And it's super easy at the beginning if you have a lot, because maybe they are all level 1, but then you have a couple that they go through their hours quickly. They're done in 18 months. So you've got to replace them. Now you've got level 1s working with level 2s and level 3s, which can be wonderful. It's just a little bit like whack-a-mole, right? You've got to make sure you're really focusing on this while these folks over here don't think that they're just ready to kind of fly before they're ready. So I always recommend that although supervision can be a source of income, you don't look at it as solely that's what it's for. So I've talked before, and you can go back to my other videos about business models for supervision. But so there is a way, of course, to bring in income that makes a difference to your practice. And here's the caveat. Most of us who are supervisors, we don't charge what we normally would charge for a cash paying client. So if our cash pay rate is $150 an hour for a client, we may charge half of that for supervision. Now, the way to make that up in supervision is triadic supervision. Triadic supervision is when there are two people, right, and one of you. This actually counts as individual supervision. So you can keep your $150 rate, and these folks can split it between the two of them, and they're constantly getting individual supervision because the rules say you must get 50%, no more. Let me make sure I'm saying this right. You can do all of your supervision hours individually, but you can only get 50% of your hours in a group setting. And I'll explain why that's important. And especially if you're watching this and you are in supervision right now, if you have a supervisor who is just offering group after group after group after group, that's not legal. That's not what the rules say, right? You must only have 50% of your hours in a group setting. So yes, groups are wonderful. They're a wonderful way to bring in income as well, supervisors. You can offer special groups on business skills. You can offer groups on ethics. You can offer groups on particular skills like conducting an intake or dealing with high conflict couples. So when you bring everybody in for, let's say, 2 hours in a 4-hour month, that's something where you can charge a little more if you'd like, and that hour would bring more income to you than perhaps a client hour. So of course, supervision can provide income. It's probably just going to be the same as you would charge for a client hour. Now, again, you can go back and look at our business models. I've talked to you about nonprofits. I've talked to you about offering supervision as a perk for seeing low cost and sliding fee scale clients in your practice. So while supervision, just that face-to-face kind of, or even camera-to-face, supervision is not a great income producer, it is one perk of adding supervision to your practice. So the next one is skill set. You got to be on your game when you're a supervisor. It is not the same as counseling. So with counseling, my client can leave anytime they want, of course, right? I mean, that's what counseling is. We work ourselves out of a job with every client. With our supervisees, not so much. There's a commitment there. That's why if you take a 40-hour training to become a supervisor in Texas, like mine, you want to make sure you come out of that course with a workable contract. That contract explains to the supervisee, hey, we're in this together for the next 3,000 hours. That could be 18 months, that could be 5 years. But we've got to work it out if we have a conflict, right? Because if your supervisee starts supervisor jumping, that's going to affect them negatively. So as a supervisor, if you don't feel like you're good at conflict, or you don't feel like you're a great boss, or maybe you've never held a job in your life where you had to evaluate another grown-up, this is the time to get your skill set up and under control. Most of the consultations that I do that are hard and difficult are the ones where the supervisor has let things go too far, right? And if you are on my email list, the email I sent out this morning talks about the time I had a supervisee file a complaint against me. I didn't do anything. In fact, the main problem was I was a big old weenie and I wouldn't enforce a remediation plan. I kept sending strongly worded emails. So when I fired him, he's like, oh, you fired me. I'm going to file a complaint. Luckily, it all turned out fine. The LPC board saw what I was doing, and it made me go back with my mentor, Dr. Judy Detrude, and work a course out that has a focus on remediation. So we teach that skill set. And when you're looking for a course, or if you're thinking about becoming a supervisor, one of the things you can look forward to is building that skill set that's way beyond being a counselor. You are a gatekeeper. You are a teacher. You're a little tiny bit wearing the hat of a therapist, but you're also the one that says, hey, get into therapy or you're going to get a remediation plan, or you got a remediation plan and on it is therapy. Go get therapy. So supervision absolutely will build that skill set of becoming a boss, managing conflict, managing a relationship through conflict, so that that person you're supervising becomes your colleague, because ultimately that's what it's all about. That's why we're in this. We don't want you to quit once you become a supervisor because you get so pissed off and you got tire tracks on your chest because people are running over you. And we don't want them to quit because they just can't handle supervision and they think the whole profession is jaded, right? So yes, you will have to level up your skill set, and that's a wonderful thing. It will make you a great boss. It will make you a great supervisor. All right, impact. That's the other thing you're going to get from adding supervision to your practice. Now, I say adding to a practice, even if you work in an agency, you're adding the supervisor designation to your existing practice. Your agency doesn't hold that license, you do. So the impact that you make grows exponentially, right? Because when we're clienting, when we're counseling our clients, I love coming up with verbs, and when we're working with clients, we're helping one person, and that's all. So when they leave the room, that's great. Maybe we help 20 people that week. Maybe we help 10 people that week. Brilliant, wonderful. Thank you for being part of the solution. Well, guess what? When you become a supervisor, if you have 2 supervisees, each one of them has 20 people, you have just quadrupled your impact in the state of Texas. That's 40 families, even families of one are families. You have just exponentially increased your impact. You are more than part of the solution. You are an incredible part of the solution. So your impact not only grows that way on your community, but as I talked about before in the other video about models you can use, business models, you can start nonprofits. You can offer low-cost counseling and use your supervisees to deliver services if they're willing. There are so many ways supervision can add to your practice. So you are this amazing, huge, and I'm talking numbers, huge impact on your community, right? Because Texas is a desert of mental health lack, right? We don't have folks out there. So you agreeing to supervise 2, 3, 4, 5 supervisees who each have 20 clients on their caseload, that's amazing. That is wonderful. That is honorable. I don't know, I can't come up with enough adjectives, but you get the idea. Last but not least, yes, your supervision can be a means of generating some pretty significant income. Let's say you want to give the 40-hour training to become a supervisor in Texas, right? That's generally a $500 to $700 course. Let's say that you are super good at helping supervisees learn how to manage conflict. Well, ask them if they'd like to film it, and then you could create a course, right? Put it on YouTube. You could create a course about how to do an intake with high conflict couples. So if your supervisees are willing to be filmed and you're able to get a video and learning management system, I use Padilla, I talk about that all the time, you can create courses based on how you supervise, right? So it doesn't just have to be a part of your business model and growing a big practice or starting a nonprofit. It doesn't have to be, you know, 1 supervisee is this amount and 2 supervisees is this amount. You can look at this as part of your 5-year strategic plan. As you get better at supervising and you enjoy being on camera, or you maybe start a podcast, something like that, where supervisees can learn a skill, that would be another amazing impact on our profession. So we have lots of ways that supervision can level up your practice. I want you to consider all of them, right? Number 1 is income, right? That's probably my least favorite, but you hear that there is still some advantage to offering paid supervision. Number 2 is your skill set. You can't be a counselor with your supervisee, right? That's dual relationship. You can send them off to go get counseling, but it definitely levels up your skill set as a boss and as an evaluator, as a mentor, as a gatekeeper. And then finally, impact. Nothing can compare to the impact that a supervisor makes in their community. And whether that is 1 or 2 supervisees, or it is you creating courses based on videos where you teach supervisees particular skills, this move of yours to become a supervisor is going to have a huge impact on your community. And I thank you for that. I want you to do that. Now, if you're watching this on a replay, your badass Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses. I posted the free ticket there. I don't really need to post the free ticket here because you guys have it in your #1 Start Here module in your Step It Up course, in the Kate Walker Training course. In your all you have to do is log into your profile. You'll find your free ticket to the free webinar. I believe, I want to say this right, it's September 28th. It's a Wednesday. It's at 6 p.m. and it's about your dream career, adding supervision to your practice. I'm going to collect all the questions and hesitations and worries that I get when I do workshops and conferences, and I'm going to try to address all of them. I don't care if one person shows up or 50 people show up. I'm going to talk about anything that might be keeping people from becoming a supervisor, because we need you. We need supervisors. So if you are 5 years away from becoming a supervisor, I want you to keep it in mind. I want you to hear my voice. I want you to hear my voice saying you need to become a supervisor. If you're at your 3-year mark, get off your butt. Go take the course. Take the course, and then when you hit your 5-year mark, you can be a supervisor. I'll put that link here in the thread as well. It's just a way to check your eligibility. So, free webinar on the 28th, Building Your Dream Career, Adding Supervision. And then #2, I'll post a link so you can check your eligibility. Look for this little training, this group coaching in your course archives here in the next couple of days with the transcript. Other than that, I will keep an eye out in the thread here. Just tag me if you have questions and I will answer them. All right, guys, this is Dr. Kate Walker. Have a wonderful day and go be a supervisor.